in my point of view, the Scorpio, Sagittarius people, and many more, the introverts, the ambiverts, are the people who like silence or stillness, you know, who don't like overstimulation. Uff Allah, अगर आप washroom में भी जाते हो, you are going with your phone, like it's like fear of missing out, FOMO. अगर हम multitasking नहीं कर रहे, we are lagging somewhere behind. It's for you if you don't have the words to describe the importance of the silence. Let's read. थोड़ा सा लंबा है, काफी लंबा है. For us, people like जिनका dopamine बहुत high है, जो story से YouTube की स्टोरी यार, रील के अलावा कुछ देख नहीं सकते, लंबी लंबी डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज नहीं सुन सकते. But it is for people like my Gemini friend or my Scorpion friend. Understand this, we are people who need space. We are people who need silence to recharge ourselves. Okay, let's go. The safety of silence with the right person. I want a love that knows silence is not a void, but a sanctuary. Most people, it seems, are terrified of quiet, not just in the air around them, but between them. Relationships today feel like rituals of constant reach, checking in, sending voice notes, forwarding reels like breadcrumbs of affection. Entire bonds rise and fall on the frequency of response times, as though presence can be measured by the blue ticks and the heart emojis. And I have never really figured that part out. This idea that we must always be speaking to prove we care, that silence needs explanation, that connection means constant communication. I think it's comprehension we need more than communication. Someone who doesn't just hear our words, but reads the tone beneath them. Someone who doesn't panic in the pauses, but understands that love doesn't disappear in the absence of noise. Look around. I look around and see so many people trying to perfect the tempo of their texting, decoding 3 days rules, and sit through situationships like emotional Sudoku. But maybe we are all just longing for something simpler, something older, a love that knows how to stay even when everything else goes quiet. The truth is, most people don't need fixing, they need understanding. They don't need to be reshaped or retaught or renamed. They need to be reassured that who they are is already enough, that they don't need to perform their pain to be held through it, that they can be seen without always having to speak. They can be seen without always having to speak. Love, at its root, isn't surgery, it's sanctuary. And what we are really craving beneath all the performance and posturing is to be loved in the soft, unremarkable moments of our becoming. Not just when we are charming, or clever, or perfectly phrased, but even when we are tired, or quiet, or half undone. I still think about that now, especially when I meet someone who begins to matter, when something flickers into the edges of the possibility and I find myself hoping, cautiously, that it might grow before the questions of compatibility or carriers or common ground, one quiet question rises: how good are we at silence? I love this question. Not the awkward kind, but the honest kind. The kind where the absence of words doesn't feel like something's wrong, but like something's finally right. I'm gonna read it again. But not the awkward kind, but the honest kind. The kind where the absence of words doesn't feel like something's wrong, but like something finally is right. Will my stillness make her nervous or him nervous? Will my silence be mistaken for distance? Will he need me to fill every gap with explanation? Or will he understand the shape of my inwardness? Here's a version of me that watches closely, listens beneath the conversations for how someone handles the space. Do they reach for words too quickly, as if silence is a hole to be patched, filled? Do they laugh a little too loud, a little too fast when the talking pauses? I don't judge it, I just notice because the older I get, the more I understand that the kind of love I want is not built on constant contact but on quiet resonance. I don't want a partner who chases sound. I want one who sits beside me like a steady breath, unrushed, unfazed, unbothered by the hush. I want a love that knows silence is not a void, but the sanctuary. And yet, I still rehearse the sentences. The soft exists. The justification for my quiet, just in case. Just in case the person beside me needs a roadmap to understand me, sometimes I can feel it start. The pressure rising in my chest, the overwhelm collecting in my throat like fog. I will reach for words. Hey, hey, do you mind if... But I always hope that the right person wouldn't make me finish, that he will already see it in the shape of my shoulders, in the way I fold inward gently and without sound. I imagine him working over, not asking, not interrupting, just arriving, settling beside me not to fix or question, but to offer presence like a blanket. Maybe he will hum something low. Maybe he will just thread his fingers into my hair like he's trying to comb the age out of my scalp. And in that moment, I wouldn't need to cry or explain or feel anything. I will just breathe and let myself be held by someone who understands that love doesn't always speak. It often listens, because the softest kind of love, I have learned, is the one that notices before you speak, the one that moves towards you not in panic, but in quiet recognition. When I imagine being in a relationship now, I don't imagine elaborate plans or constant texting. I picture parallel stillness. He's on the floor beside the bed, lost in a book. Me at the window watering the plants. A playlist hums low in the background. We're not narrating our day aloud. We're not checking in with every breath. And yet, the room hums with closeness. That is what intimacy looks like to me now. Not overlap, but attunement. Not constant confirmation, but deep assurance. Like knowing we are both here fully, even when our gazes don't meet. And in that room, I will feel more seen, not when he asks me to talk. And in that room, I will feel more seen, not when he asks me to talk, but when he brings me a glass of water unprompted. When he reaches for my hand without comment, When he sits beside me at the end of a long day, not to pull stories out of me, but to share breath and warmth and quiet. Because I have lived the other version, the one where silence was unsafe, where pauses made people panic, where I had to manage their spirals with words I didn't have, where every stillness was mistaken for absence. I had to stay on, I had to stay bright, stay offering, just to reassure someone that I had not left. And the more I performed that presence, the more emptied I became. Like talking became a tax, like my silences were depths I had to repay. Seriously, I'm gonna break here. That's when I feel, this salam thing, Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, kaise hain, whether it's food, that makes me anxious. Whether it's in office, you go in the morning and then you are like at 9 a.m. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum sir, assalamu alaikum sir, assalamu alaikum, just because, कोई आपको ये ना कहे कि आप अच्छे इंसान नहीं है because आप just सलाम नहीं करते. I don't think so. एक पानी का जग जिसमें पानी नहीं है वो किसी ग्लास को फिल कर सकता है. सेम गोज विथ ह्यूमन. हम सोते हैं रात को, हमारी वाइटल बॉडी चार्ज होती है, एंड समटाइम्स we are going through lots of things in our life and we don't share it with our siblings, with our sister, with our brother, with our parents, with our friends. And not everyone is up to for that performance. हर बंदे के पास सुबह सुबह ऑफिस के वक्त 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever your office time is, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Not everyone has the energy 100% charging. इस तरह आपके cell phones charge होते हैं, इंसान भी charge होते हैं. And sadly, mostly humans, हम जिस society culture में रह रहे हैं, it's like हम दूसरों की energy को deplete करते हैं. And this Assalamu alaikum is one of that. I don't have that energy. मेरे cortisol को उतरने में सोने जब मैं जागती हूँ, it takes me 3 to 4 hours, depending which moon phase of the lunar month it's going on. So, and then there are those people where it says, when you need a space, when you want to go into that silence zone to recharge, just tell us, आप हमसे नाराज नहीं हो या आप उस मोड में जाने लगे हो. I don't know when that time is going to come, Like seriously. Come on, guys. We as Pakistanis, we are really judgmental and we just think अगर आप मेरी तरह नहीं हो black and white और अगर मैंने आपको black and white नहीं बनाया तो it's really gonna make me as too uncomfortable. So ये मेरी responsibility है कि मैं आपको अपना जैसा बनाऊं और अगर आप मेरे जैसे नहीं बनोगे so you have a problem. It's funny. It's really funny. Hi, where were we? Yeah, because I have lived the other version, the one where silence was unsafe. Yeah, it's describing it. To me, it's describing the Pakistani relatives, the Pakistani majority, the social butterflies. Too uncomfortable in the silence. Eats them out or eats them in. Let's go. That kind of love leaves you hollow. It asks you to contour your inner weather into something easier to hold. And that's when I learned if someone is scared of your silence, they may never be able to meet the fullness of you. Because your fullness includes your stillness, includes the days where your love isn't expressed in language but in lingering. And here's what else I have learned. With the right person, silence wouldn't spiral into the distance. You wouldn't start building arguments in your head during the quiet. You wouldn't begin to wonder if you said too little or too much. There will be a kind of trust that runs underneath the hush, like a hand on the water, always there, knowing that presence doesn't doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it just sits beside you and stays. That's what changed me. The slow understanding that love shouldn't require constant access, that healthy relationships make space for ebb and flow, that love, when rooted, doesn't need constant watering. It just needs presence, honest, unfussy, generous presence. I don't need to be spoken to every hour. I don't need to be asked 100 times if I am okay. I just need to know that my quiet wouldn't be misread, that my pauses wouldn't be prodded open, that my need to withdraw will be met not with suspicion, but with soft permission. For me, silence isn't distance, it's kind of trust, a quiet confidence that the bond can hold even when words fall away. It's a testament to comfort, to knowing we don't have to perform presence to prove it. The love I want now isn't performance, it's a rhythm. The kind of rhythm that builds slowly, that doesn't panic when the tempo changes, that trusts the bond enough to let the silence stretch without snapping. I want to sit with someone in a room and say nothing for 3 hours and still feel like the most important person in the world. I have been taught by life and love coincide ways that the loudest connections aren't always the deepest. Sometimes the noise is just cover for fear. Sometimes constant communication is just an effort to ward off insecurity. And while those patterns are human, I don't want to spend my life compensating for someone's fear of quiet. I want to spend it growing inside a silence that feels like home. Because silence, when shared right, is not a lack, it's a shared breath, a sacred space, a mutual agreement that we are here together and that nothing needs to be said to prove it. And that kind of silence, steady, soft, respectful, isn't the absence of intimacy, it's the presence of it in its most still form. Even across the distance, that presence can still be felt. When the foundation is strong, you don't need constant texts or endless check ins. You don't need to keep your face buried in your phone waiting for a sign. You just know, you trust, and you return to your own life like with a quiet kind of confidence because that love isn't a tether, it's a home. And when you do meet physically or in conversation, it should never feel like a burden or a performance. It should feel like a letting out, a gentle exhale, a place where you can both arrive exactly as you are, without masks, without roles, just presence. When I imagine the relationship that lasts, it's built not on declarations, but on moments. Brushing our teeth in the same mirror, folding laundry beside each other without saying a word, reaching out in the middle of a sentence just to place a hand on a knee, not to interrupt, but to connect, to say, I am here, I am with you, without saying anything at all. And when we are apart, I want that same ease, that knowing, that soft and steady assurance that love doesn't require proving, it just needs room to breathe. Because that's the kind of love I want to grow, quite enduring, whole. The kind that doesn't need to be loud to feel full. The kind that carries you inward, not just outward. The kind that sees silence not as a gap, but as a garden. I love it. It's not that bad, the silence, being alone, trying to still yourself, trying to shut that mind constant chattering,